Okay, thank you, everyone. Lubs, take it away with your demo on Knowtifier.
Sure, and just to confirm, you can see my screen, correct?
We can, yes.
Okay, great. All right, so you guys are looking at my actual notifier here. So you'll, as you see here, there's a lot of notices in here. So these are notices that Notifier sends out to different support reps and sales reps in our company, open projects, open tickets, things of that nature. Um, so we won't be really talking about that necessarily, but I just want to show you that you can have as many notices as you want in your notifier. So it's not just a one notice type thing here. You can have, and I actually have, I'm scrolled down here. I can scroll up here just to show you the other ones as well. So um, so there's a bunch in there. So if anybody's used Notifier before, you might have some idea on that. If you haven't, we'll sort of go through sort of starting it up and creating a notice basically from scratch, so to speak. So two things we're going to create today. One is going to be an email notice, which is going to be using a template that gets sent out to the actual client. Okay, so it'll be email notice, let's say 10 days ahead of time, 30 days ahead of time. You can set that whatever you want to prior to their renewal date. Okay, so then basically what Notifier is going to do, let's say we do 10 days. It's going to look at the renewal date 10 days from now. If it finds anybody, it's going to email those people and merge the template that we've selected to those contacts. The second one we're going to create is a report that's going to be sent to, typically we send it to yourself or the sales manager or the owner, whoever, and it's going to be a list of the next week's renewals or next month's renewals or today's renewals. Once again, whatever date you want to set on that, you can choose, and it's going to send you almost like a spreadsheet of that data, so you can look through those and see what renewals are coming up. Okay, so those are the two things we're going to concentrate on today. So let's go through here, and we're going to click Add to add a new one. And so the two ones we're going to talk about here today as far as the notices, one is the email notice, which is going to be that email template to the client. And then the second one will be the email report, which once again is going to be a report to either yourself or somebody else in your company. So let's do the email notice first. And so the first page of the wizard is going to say notice enabled. A lot of times you want to leave that unchecked until you have everything sort of all set up and in place. Because if you do have that checked, it's once you save this, it's going to start as part of that process going out almost immediately. So if you don't have things set up just correctly, you may be sending it to people you really don't want to send this to. So I usually tell people leave that unchecked until you sort of go through everything, make sure you have everything set up and everything looks good. So the notice name, that could be whatever you want. So usually you want to be pretty specific with that, so when you're looking through that list of notices, you know what it's going to be. So let's do next 7 days. Okay. And then template path. So if you've already created a template, you would click the little ellipse button to go find it. Okay. If you haven't, you can go to the template editor and create your own template. So it's just its own template editor. If you've used any of our other products, such as tables or mail merge for Act, this looks very similar to that. So you have your insert merge field here. You can pull something from a contact table or any of the of custom tables that you may have in your database. So if you do import our schema, which I think Ken's going to be sending to you guys, X sub is going to be the table that you're going to want to pull in data from as far as renewal date, purchase date, things of that nature. Okay. So I already created a template in here, so I'm just going to pull that in here just for the sake of time. And now I just need to find it. There we go. Okay. So you go get your template. You put it in there, and then now you're choosing what your what your trigger date is. Okay, what date field you're triggering off of. Okay, so if you have that data in the contact table, you would choose contact. Now, if you're going to be using our X sub custom table, you're going to want to choose custom table from this record type here. Okay, and then you're going to want to choose which custom table you're going to be using. So in this case, X sub. Now, you could filter things down here if you wanted to, okay? So you can filter either by the contact or the X sub itself, and saying, maybe on the X sub there, we have there's an active checkbox. You only want the ones that are active, or maybe certain products. You only want to do a specific product for renewals. You can query certain products and filter only those. If you don't do that and just leave that blank, which oftentimes it might just leave it blank, in a couple pages now in this wizard, you're going to have an option to choose the trigger date and how many days prior to that date field you're going to want to send this out. Okay, so if you're going to want to choose everybody within that X sub table, you leave this filter criteria empty. If you want to hone in on a specific subset of that table, then you would choose your filter, and it's as easy as creating a filter on like a dynamic query or a advanced query and act. You hit the add button, choose your field name. Let's just say we're doing active equal to true. Okay, if we wanted to do that. Okay, we're going to leave this. We're not going to put one in there though for our experiment today, but that's where you would do that. So once you do that, you go to next, and then this is where you set your triggers. Okay, so we're going to do date field, and then the field name. In this case, we're going to do renewal date, and then over here we add how many days before or after that trigger date. So we click the add button, and we're doing 7 days prior to that renewal. And so what you could do either before or after, okay? So you can do either one. In this case, we're doing 7 days before. So, if this notice was going out today, it would look for anybody in our database that had a renewal date of 2/21/2025 and send them an email, okay? Once again, that date there before, it could be any number you want. You want it 30 days before, 1 day before, 90 days before, it doesn't matter. And then now this is going to be your email subject. Okay. You can CC anybody. You can BCC people. You can also CCC the record manager. So if you have a record manager on that X sub record, if you have multiple people entering data, you may want to CC them to let them know, hey, that renewal is coming up for the person they sold that to. Okay. Change reply to address. So this could be, once that person replies to you, do you want them to reply right back to the person the user you have set up through Knowtifier, the email address you have set up there, the record manager of that account, the activity user, which is not going to be, that's grayed out here because it's for an activity setup, or a custom email. You can just put in your own email, a specific email address. Maybe you have just a catch-all email address that you want all these to reply to. And then as far as the email address that you're sending to, by default, it's going to be that main email address on that contact record. But if you want to send it to additional records and or different email addresses, you can choose use contact fields. And then if you click this drop down, it's going to list any of the email fields you have in ACT, and you can send to those in addition, or you can, if you don't want to send to the primary and just a other one, you can do that as well. Likewise, you can send to a custom table field. Okay, if you have an email field, and we don't have an email field there, but if you do, you can do that as well. I'm going to leave it on primary for our test today, and then we're going to hit next. You can record a history when this gets sent out, so that you know that something was sent out to that person, just like any other email sent. So you would check the record history, and then choose whatever history type you wanted for the history recording. And you can even attach the message file to the history if you wanted. And then finally, on this last page here, you can set an activity. So if you wanted to create a call, so we sent this email out 7 days prior, and then maybe in 5 more days we want to create a call in case they don't get back to us. Follow up if we don't hear from them, just to make sure that they're aware of their renewal coming up in a couple days. And then field updates, we can update a field. Maybe last results you want to put in, sent renewal notice or something of that nature. Okay. And then that's the wizard there. Okay, so that's, once you're done there, you hit finish. And then now you're going to see that notice up here at the bottom here. So the enabled, like I said, it's right now it's no. So I don't want to send this out to our production database, but just want to show you how we have it set up here. But let me show you that template that's in there. Okay, so once you actually have, like if you're going back to edit it, let me just go back there real quick. If you remember before when I hit template editor, because I didn't have a template in there, it was a blank, it just showed up a blank file. Because I now have a template set there, when I click template editor, it actually opens up that template right for me. So I don't have to go find it again to edit it if I need to. Okay, but here's our template. And Ken, I don't know, are you going to share these as well, the templates with them that we have?
No, I think those are a little bit
Or
customized, but I mean,
or
we're
should I
happy
share?
to
Okay,
share
I'll
some
just
of
share.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think it would take more effort to rewrite them than to
To
just
change
do
it.
them from
Gotcha.
scratch. Yeah.
Okay. But as you see here, anything with sort of like the little carrots around it, the brackets, those are the fields that fields that we've inserted there as merge fields. Just like any other template, you put in the data you want, and then put the fields, the merge fields, where you want those as well, and that data is going to get merged in there. And as you see here, there's a combination of ACT subfields and contact fields in there. So that data, once again, when this contact gets the email, all that data is going to be merged in there. I don't think I have to explain, email merges to you guys, but that data is going to be merged in there from the custom table as well as the contact table, which is really nice. So it looks like a personalized letter, even though once again it's running on an automated thing that, you know, once you set it, you just sort of forget it and let it run. Okay, and they get those emails throughout there. So okay, so that's the email notice once again that goes out to the client. All right. So let me show you an email report that you can once again send to yourself or maybe somebody else, on your staff. So let's go through that
Now,
process.
before you get into that, Lubs, did
Sure.
you explain how you can actually have, um, let's say you're managing your Axe subscriptions, and you you create a notifier to go out, 4 weeks in advance of their renewal. Did you explain that you can create another one for 3 weeks, another one for 2 weeks, another one for 1 week, and then even one afterwards?
Yeah. So I think I did. I'm not sure if people understood that, but as I mentioned earlier, you can create multiple notices. So you would create we create one there for 7 days, but we can 30 days, 90 days, 1 day, and then yeah, after the fact, a week later, hey, your renewal was up last week or whatever. So that would
Right.
be the after when we do the trigger date to be 7 days after instead of 7 days before.
Now, the reason that that is obviously important, beyond the obvious, is that if a person pays within that first 30-day notice period and you advance their renewal date another year, those notifications automatically stop without you having to do anything. Okay, so just because it's triggered on that renewal date, you can set up 4 or 5 notifiers to keep ticking down towards their actual renewal date. But the second that you move it up to the next year, then all those notifications stop without you having to do anything else. So that's part of the beauty of how that will work in tandem with you without you having to make a bunch of adjustments. Make one field change, and they all go back in queue for the next year.
Ken, got a quick question for you.
Okay.
So if you're pulling from the Act subs, how you have it set up,
Hmm.
and you've got multiple line items, you've got APC, you've got AMA, you've got a bunch of different line items. Maybe they got
Right.
extra email sends. Will that, because it's pulling from the Act sub table, will it put separate line items in that notification?
No, what it actually does is it tabulates them all because it is the parent table of those individual child entities. So and that's how we constructed it for that purpose, because if we had just had one software table for, say, an Axe subscription, well, that Axe subscription is going to have many components. Okay, and it's going to include, as you said, AMA, extra sends, custom tables, enhanced support, whichever. And you're going to want all of those contained entities to roll up to the ACT sub and provide a summary calculation. And that summary calculation what will be distributed out. It's not a bill. It's not meant to provide a summary breakdown of everything. You could send out, I guess, additional AMAs for that. But this particular purpose, the reason that we structured it that way is to send out one notification, and we put right at the top, this is not a bill, but that they can then notify us in advance if they want any changes made to their account, positive or negative. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Back to you, Lubs.
Thanks, Gary. Yep, thanks, Ken. Okay, so let's once again show you how to create the email report now. So under notice type, we're going to select email report. Click next. We're going to give this notice a name. So you want to go next week. And once again, same thing here. So some of these things are going to be similar because we're working out the same custom table. So we're going to do custom table, X sub. And now I'm going to use the filter because in that report, we don't use trigger dates for the reports. We use more of filters. So now I want to use that filter, and we'll do renewal date within the next 7 days. Okay. And if you want it, we can even preview it to see how many records match. There we go. And then here, this trigger settings, we don't need it because it's report, so we just check this where it says report does not require an anchor date. We can just check that. We don't need that. We can skip it. And then this is now going to be the email subject. Same thing here. We can CC additional people if we need to. We can change the reply to. We've already covered that. So now the thing that's going to be different here is down below here. Instead of sending this to a client who matches that criteria, we're not sending this. Doesn't go to the clients at all. This is going to a specific person. Okay. I'm just going to send it to myself. You can add additional people here. You just put a comma in there and then enter as many email addresses as you want. And then to define what columns you want to see on that report, you click the Edit Report Columns button. And then you have two tables to choose from. So you have your contact fields and then your custom table fields. So let's just put in, we're going to put in the company name, let's say the contact. And then from the custom table, we'll add the software type and renewal date. But as you see there, you can add whatever fields that are in the X sub. You can add as many as you want to that list there. Okay. And then move them up and down accordingly if you need to. Okay, we'll make it really just 4 fields. Once again, you can have as many fields as you want in that report. 2 options here as well. You can display it just in the body of the email, or you can actually create a report that comes as an email attachment, or both of those options. Okay. And then how frequent do you want this report to be sent? We got annually, monthly, weekly, or daily. Let's just select daily from this here. Click next. And that's it. So the email report's very, very simple. Okay. Let me just hit finish here and show you actually what that, I can show you what that one looks like since it was sent to me. Open it up. And so here's what that email will look like. Okay. And so you would get that on a daily basis if you the way we set it up there. But once again, you can set that up for weekly, monthly, or annually. And it's really nice just to have that right in front of you in your email, so you're able to see, oh, this is next week's renewal, or things that maybe you're renewing today or tomorrow. So you have those right in front of you. You get that quick report, and then you can see it without having to search your database or things like that. So you're going to see that data right there for yourself. So those are the 2 things that I wanted to show you guys. So just wanted to, if there's any questions on that before I turn over to Ken, feel free to discuss that.
Well, I'm going to let you guys kind of noodle on this. Michael's email is michaelk@kqc.ca. So if any questions come to you afterwards, I do want to stress 2 things. One, please email him also. If you don't have any questions, email him an NFR request, and he will provide you that. That's the first part. The second part is, as you guys have probably gathered, this is not a bad thing to provide by way of consulting. Okay, there's lots of kind of business use cases that you can help people set this up. They're not going to divine the presence of Knowtifier. So if you bring this to them, then you can definitely provide yourself a billable service and add value to your account. Okay, so first, email Michael K at KQC.
I put it in the chat window, so for everybody,
Perfect.
just copy and paste.
Okay.
Yep.
And request an NFR. And Bud, if any of your ACCs want them, just ask them to request it individually. It's not per company, so that you guys can all play with this and become proficient at it. Okay. Any other questions before I take over control of the screen?
I just want to say this is pretty exciting for me.
Good. Good. I'm glad. I mean, Bud was there at the conference. Tony was there. Like, this is what we want to help with. And, I couldn't stress more, the point that I made is that, we're not competitors anymore. This isn't, as I think we can all acknowledge, people aren't going out and getting 3 or 4 tenders for one product. Okay. They're getting one for each. So, let's kind of pool our resources and become better collectively so that we can all increase our ACT business. Okay.
Ken
Yep.
from here. I tried Knowtifier a few years ago and I had trouble installing it, as in I think I had errors and things like that. So is there anything that it might have obviously changed in a couple of years, but that's been a bit of a battle I've had with a lot of the add-ons, is the complexity from my perspective.
I'm fighting the urge to make an Australia joke, and I think I'm doing okay. All I would say is try again. It has been a few years. I will also report that's not a common complaint that we get with the Knowtifier. So maybe there was not maybe you, but maybe the environment that you were working in that was a bit problematic. But I'm wagering you probably have a different computer since then as well. So give it a go again, and then use the same email to contact Lubs for any support issues.
Couple things too to point out, Ron. Couple things too, Ron. So we actually have 2 installers now, one for 32-bit, one for 64-bit. So that may have been the issue at the time, whatever, or it could have been the hat you're wearing too. One of those 2 things. So
I think it's the hat.
It's got to be the hat. Bud, you had a question?
Yeah, the only thing I would caution everybody, because it's happened to me numerous times, where I've actually sent out reminder notices for renewals, and then the ACT group have changed the prices on me after I've already sent out what I thought was the renewal price number, and had to try to fix this up. So be careful is all I'm saying about that one.
Yeah, so this is a technical discussion and not a commercial one, but I couldn't agree with you more. We learned that lesson as well, and that's why the notifications only include the date and the quantity. Okay, and that's why we also say this is not a bill at the top.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we are very, very clear not to quote any values unless maybe it's our product and we control whether or not the price is going up. But even then, what we'll let's say a new version of ACT comes out and we've got some add-ons and someone says, oh, it's not compatible with that because it says so on your website. Oh my God, we've got 100 products and each one has to be edited in 3 different places. So you can imagine the number of spots that you can miss and end up sending out bad information. So yeah, avoid any kind of dollar value notifications because you're just trying to notify them, not send them a bill, right? Your renewal is coming up. Let's talk about it. Your bill's coming next. Okay. But good point. Okay, so let's go over to my screen.
I have a quick question. Just
okay. Is that Sylvia?
Yeah, this is Sylvia.
Okay.
In the section of the adding the action, when you can assign like create a task following up after the email has been sent, can you assign to a specific user?
Oops, did you get that? I think we lost Lebs.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
So are you talking about the notices that go out to a client?
Email, yes, email sent it to the client, and then when you add like a call follow up.
Oh, when you add the call, gotcha. Yeah, so when you add a call, so over here in activities, we're going to add an activity. Yes, down here you can set them all for Sylvia to call everybody back.
Okay.
Yep.
And you can do it for different like user if you have like different call
Or you,
following up.
yeah,
No,
or you
Sylvia,
can
you're
set it as
getting
a
all
record
the
manager.
calls.
Yeah, you're gonna get them all, Sylvia. Or you can set it as the record manager. So whoever the record manager is of that custom table item, the call gets scheduled for that person instead of you, whatever you selected there. So
All right.
you have
Wow.
the
Thank.
option. Yeah.
And then Ken, real quick, the obviously the push here is to try to get your current database, who's maybe on desktop or on older versions, to upgrade and get up into the cloud, and hopefully maybe with cloud with sync. I'm running into some issues as well with people that are still trying to use activity series. I mean, I even have some old guys that like smart tasks, but activity
Oh my
series,
goodness.
if you're on the cloud, you cannot play with activity series and make
Nope.
new ones, make edits to them, all of that stuff. You have to get help if you can get it from the ACT support group. But this product could get you around all of that with a
Mhm.
client that wants to do things like what had been smart tasks or had been activity series. This could get you around all of that.
And there's more to come. There's more to come. What you guys haven't heard is that we're expecting to get webhooks included into APC by the end of the month, which will dramatically enhance our ability to support and implement workflow, since we'll finally get the change tracking that we need to actually support it. So there's many more things to come. Okay, so but I hear what you're saying, and by the way, we also have an API version of the Knowtifier, okay, not just an SDK. So if you've got all web customers, then we have an API version that will just pull the data directly through the web API. Okay, so let's just, I want to keep us under an hour. So let me just pivot on over to my screen and I'll try to get through my part as quickly as possible. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to follow up on is I've one of the laments that I've got looking at other consultants' websites is that they'll publish a blog and then never add to it. Okay, like in fact, often what they're doing is by having a blog section is that they are promoting the fact that they're not maintaining their blog section, because you'll go into it as like, oh, last blog is from 2021. The blog has a couple of values to it that not everyone appreciates. One is that it indexes, whether you're using Joomla or WordPress, it indexes a lot better than the normal pages within your website. Okay, whatever editor you're using. So if you've got some quick time-sensitive bulletins, and as you can see here, I've just gone in and I've just reformatted the news and notes that I could, okay, and just created a bulletin. I created a little banner that I use over and over again. And what I've done by doing so is a couple of things. Obviously, I'm getting the word out. I'm keeping the blog current in that. But also, and gets to my second point, is I'm curating content for my newsletter. Okay, a lot of people start off with really good intentions. I'm going to publish a newsletter. It's going to be monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, whatever. And the problem is when that time comes around to producing it, it becomes too big of a job to do because they're suddenly compiling, the content for an entire newsletter. If you look at your blog as part of that compiling process, that curating process, then it's very easy to take, a half hour here or an hour there and build, this library of content, so that whether you're doing it monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, whenever that rotation is, and you guys decide, what's right for your business, what's right for your customers, but be consistent. Whatever rotation you do, be consistent, and then just use AMA. Take the banners, take whatever, you can make it, whatever mix of contents and graphics you want, but distribute out a compilation of your blogs. Okay. Now, why would you do that? Well, not only is it providing content, but you're also literally distributing an invitation to provide links back to your website. okay, which is creating more organic traffic, which is creating more, visibility of your website. Okay, so one, you've got to overcome the content hurdle. My big suggestion is don't try to eat a cow all in one bite. Do it in little drips as you go through the month or the quarter or every other month. Just come up as things go. Just publish quickly. Do not make this, some big effort. Just keep them digestible, short, and consistent. And that way, when people go to the newsletter, it's like, hey, this is worth reading, not, this guy's advertising, he's got no interest in keeping up his blog. Okay. So the first point I would make is, one, have a blog section. If you're not using a WordPress or Joomla or something of those sorts, reconsider that, because Joomla and WordPress are free, and they all include native blog sections that are free as well. Okay. There's also free add-ons that you can get. Be mindful of the add-ons, because the add-ons are often a little bit more tricky in maintaining and making sure that they're compatible. We spent a big chunk of December updating our Joomla 2 versions, and because of that, we ended up breaking a lot of stuff because we hadn't updated in a little while. So try to use as many of the homegrown or included components as possible, and you'll go through less upgrade headaches. Okay. Second, as I said, set a schedule for a newsletter, and then structure it to allow you to use your content on your blog to populate it. Now, if you go here, click on this, one of the things that we do is that when we distribute it from within the AMA campaign, after you've sent it out, once it's active, you can go back into that template and look up under social sharing, and it will actually generate a link for you. Okay. And then now you can post a library of your newsletters on your website, which does what? Creates more reason for people to click through. Okay. You notice a theme here. We're trying to create as much traffic to the website as possible, many lead backs as possible. So here, we've compiled our newsletter so people can kind of go through, catch up on what they may have missed, whichever. Now, the content that you guys use is up to you, but the AMA includes video components, which we use quite a bit. Whether you use YouTube or Vimeo, it doesn't make a difference. If you go into the deep dive webinar page of ACT, they actually allow you to download it. Okay, like there's an actual download button. You can download it, publish it to YouTube, put your own branding on it, and then include it in your newsletters or your website. Really, really easy to build up content that way. Okay. Now, the other thing when you're thinking about a newsletter is, at least, if it's monthly, I'll understand if you don't want to do it every single month, but we're going to cover in the next couple of weeks link to events. And link to events is a really efficient tool for harvesting signups for webinars. Okay, so at least every other newsletter should include some kind of promotion of a webinar that you host. Okay, now in the next few months, you're going to have a lot of occasions to reach out to your customers and want to demo what's going to be new in ACT Premium Cloud. So hopefully you guys can get familiar with some of the Linktivity products between now and then, so that you can host more regular webinars and become that gatekeeper that people are going to rely on and go through each and every single time. Okay. Now, I did publish a blog, okay, called How to Effectively Market Your Business for Less Than $500 per Month. I published this, I think, about 18 months ago. I'm not going to read it off. I'll include the link in the newsletter notes. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put it right here in the chat. You guys can scrape that right away. Okay. Now, it includes a bunch of different ideas, different platforms, different forums, but I think it's kind of a useful for review. Take from it what you will. And again, this is just kind of providing options. Okay. Now, we can't talk about blogs without talking about content. Okay. Now, there are several ways that we can manage content. One of the first ones is like, let's say we go to act.com and we go to resources, we go to blog. Okay. And I just saw this one about, CRM versus spreadsheet. So I'm just going to take a quick bit of text here. Okay. Now, one of the services that is available for very little money, like look at this, like less than $7 a month, is a service called quillbot.com. Now, I'm a heavy user of Microsoft Copilot, but it does a very bad job of paraphrasing. It's more into cleaning up text than it is paraphrasing. This specifically is for paraphrasing. So Quillbot, QUILLBOT.com, put in the text, okay, paraphrase, and it will go through and rewrite it. Now, why are we doing this? Most of you guys will know Google can pick up completely duplicated text and punish both the offender and the source. Okay, so this will allow you to borrow content and reproduce it in a way that's not going to look like it's jacked. Okay, so quillbot.com, you saw that it's like $6.66 a month. I think the regular price is like $8.33. So this is a pretty easy thing to budget, especially given the amount of time that it's going to save. Okay. The other thing is, there are online. So I use News and Notes. I use Microsoft Copilot. I suggest that you guys try to avoid the free version of Microsoft Copilot. They really kind of limit you in terms of the words, the creativities, the engines involved. And I find that, to spend $20 a month really gets you, not only will it provide you a lot more content, because the difference is like between 7,500 and 20,000 words. So that's a lot, okay, when you're looking at close to 3 times the content. And, but I also just find the quality of the content a heck of a lot better, okay? Plus the researching of it. So for me, one of the things that I did just before this is what are good online content resources for newsletters on CRM. So you can see CRM Magazine's eWeekly. Obviously, we're going to skip over the Salesforce part. CRM Buyer, CRM Lab Newsletter, the Close Brief. I'm sure if you asked it to give you 10, it will give you 10. Okay, but this is, I find that Microsoft Copilot is pretty fantastic. Okay, write me a bio on Bud Rice. I've never done this before. I have no idea what it's going to say. Bud Rice is a talented singer-songwriter based in Montreal, Canada. Bud, you get around. You get around, buddy. Anyway, like it's very, very easy to generate this kind of content. So, I definitely encourage you guys to consider that. Okay. Microsoft Copilot, as I said, ranges from free up to about $30 when you buy it with Microsoft Office 365. But I pay the $20 package, and I've never, ever felt limited by it. So we covered Quillbot. Now, the one other thing we get is like, okay, I can generate content. I can say, we talked about the CRM. Write me a blog on why I should use a CRM instead of a spreadsheet for managing customers. Isn't that crazy? That's how quick of the content you're getting. Now, do not just go down here and click on copy and publish, okay? For both copyright reasons and for readability reasons. There are a few things that are very, very generic and telltale signs of AI. At the beginning, in the fast-paced digital world or in the modern business, like it always reads the same way. So definitely use this as kind of a structure and build some very specific content around it relating to your experience, your products. Okay. Now, the as I said, so these are the tools for text content. One of the things that I deliberately did for this promoting this event today was to post in ActNation a AI generated image. Okay, if you guys think that I went to the trouble of creating some orange headed CRM consultant, it took all of 15 seconds. So what I use, and you can use canva.com. I'm just not a user of it, but I know a lot of people use Canva for generating banners and flyers and things like that. Very good for mixed text and images. I just don't use it. But here is an image that I generated. I just clicked on File, New, and I said create an image right down here. I just went Generate AI, and I typed in create an image of a business person sitting at a desk with a laptop, looking pensive about a software decision he needs to make. The picture should have an orange color theme. So I can turn around and say, add a lamp to the desk. This freaked me out when 2024 and 2025 Photoshop came out. Boom. That's how quickly you can generate images. Okay. And this isn't like the days of CorelDRAW where you got to pay $700 or $800. Photoshop as a single app costs $21 a month. Okay. If you were to buy all cloud apps, it would be $55 a month. Okay. If you buy the photography plan, okay, it can be a little bit less, I think like $10 a month. But this is pretty cool in terms of generating AI content. I published on LinkedIn the other day. I don't normally do political pieces, but this whole trade war stuff was making me a little scrappy. So what I did was I created an image and I said, create an image of a horde of beavers in Canadian t-shirts marching in the streets angry. It was astonishing, okay, what it rendered immediately. If any of you guys have me on LinkedIn, Facebook, take a look, you'll see it. It was pretty zippy. But this is certainly something that you can add as part of your image content for your blogs. The next part is distribution in terms of content. Now, I use Hootsuite. I don't suggest that everyone use Hootsuite because it is $100 a month, and I don't expect that everyone's going to want to spend that. But I find its ease of use to be really, really handy. You can see, and what I do is I impose a discipline on myself that I don't work on social media content during business hours. Okay, so I'll do it on the weekend mornings or after hours. And then what I'll do is I'll schedule all the content through the week. And you can see here, I can click on create, post, and I can add whatever social media I want. Now, keep in mind, some have like Instagram likes 4:3 aspect ratio. They don't like 16:9. Obviously, Twitter is limited on in terms of words. So you've got to make sure that if you're going to select all of them, that it complies with all of their conditions. Okay. And then so what I can do is I just grab something here.
I figured I might as well keep myself busy since I can't even drink water.
Dinah, I'm going to mute you there. Okay, so now I can just add this, put in the text, and then I can say schedule for later, and I can schedule the days. And it will even give me, okay, if I set it, it will often give me recommended times, okay, that are typically between 5 and 7, okay? So I'm going to cancel this, but using this is a very easy and effective tool for taking care of all of your social media actions and campaigns, like in 1 hour, off hours, once a week. okay, where you can take care of everything at once, even repeat the same. You can go in, like if I go to my plan here, discard, I can go in here, duplicate, that kind of thing. It's very, very easy to use. By the way, this image here, I generated with AI, okay? You can tell I told it to use a orange background, really, really easy, okay? But Hootsuite, as I said, is fairly expensive. So what I'm gonna just quickly show you guys, if you wanna make note of this, here's are some cheaper alternatives, okay? So maybe Notepad wasn't so good. Okay, so you've got Buffer, Plannable, Sendable, um, Agorapulse, and Later. It's actually later.com. Okay. And I've seen these guys cost as little as $10, $20 a month that will achieve a lot of the same functionalities. See here, Later is $12.50. Agorapulse is 79. This is 29. This is 33. And Buffer actually starts at $6 per channel per month. Okay. So you don't have to go to Hootsuite and blow your brains out. There are definitely cheaper alternatives. Okay. Any questions on that? Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pivot over to Carlos. Carlos, have I kept you awake long enough here?
Oh, it was interesting. Everything was great, actually.
I'm going to make you the presenter, and Carlos is going to give you a quick walkthrough on a service that we use called Lucky Orange. Okay. Now he told me about this when he first joined us 5 years ago. I couldn't believe how many features were involved with this. Okay. So Carlos, take it away, share your screen, and give us a quick tour of what Lucky Orange does in terms of website analytics.
Okay, I will have to just go out and come back in a second, okay? Just because GoToMeeting is kicking me out. 1 second, please.
It's because he recognizes you being a Mac user. He is a Mac user, and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't remind him of that. Any questions while we're waiting for the Mac user to rejoin us?
Ken Bron, just a quick one. Go to this tool. How much does this cost per month?
It's around $20 to $30. I forget exactly how much. I'm not sure I recommend it. I'm not a big endorser of it. I mean, I'm used to it now because I've used it to really kind of date myself and many people on the call. Do you guys remember when Platinum Care came out? It was the predecessor to Business Care. Platinum Care included a discounted version of GoToMeeting. That's when I signed up. I've used it since Platinum Care, which I think was 2010 or something like that.
It just reminded me when we had CRMS, how we offered that as part of their.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Maybe we should bring that back.
There's only so much nostalgia we can bear or have time for. Carlos, are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so let me make you the presenter again. Okay, take it away.
Okay. Just make sure I'm the right screen here. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep, that works.
Yep.
Okay. Just a quick thing I forgot. It's good to mention. If you are copying the content from any social media channel and you want to review or the AI, whatever you're doing, Hemingway app is a great one. So you can just paste it and tweak it to have a better readability here. You will see the grades. Anyway, this is something free.
I use Grammarly as well. There's all kinds of sources. And I think Braun also mentioned Leonardo.ai.
Yeah, they are good to review. Yeah. So the tool Ken was talking about was Lucky Orange. This is good for two reasons. First, to mention here, we are not getting any commissions or selling this. It's not our product, right? This is something that makes your life simple in three points. The first one, you don't need to go into your Google Analytics account all the time. The second thing is you have something people they don't have any idea. It's backend. When you go into the visitors, you can see when people are online, and you can track whatever they did in your website. So you can just click, and in one click, you see their interactions. And in this case here, the guy was reading through the page, and you can see he stopped on the video, saw another video, and then he kept scrolling down and reading the passages of the text. So you can spy on people, what they are doing in your website, where they are going, and you can even see the pages they visit. And more than that, most important here, you have a tool inside where you can just create a chat. So if you find people browsing around and they don't have a position there, or they are looking for some button and they cannot find, and Ken and I, we experienced this in the past, you can just engage into the chat and talk to them. How complex this is? It's pretty simple. Or you just put the script in the header, or you just install the plugin. Like this is the backend of the website, is a plugin in WordPress, and you have the same kind of thing, so you don't need to go too far to find the information. But the tricky part here, why we are talking about that? We don't, in Keystroke, we don't use this chat there. We have a proper chat, but sometimes we need to do a informed decision, and here you can take a look what you have. So this is one customer. So you want to see what people are doing. If you click in launch heat map, you can see where people were clicking in your website, how long it take, and yeah,
love it. Because
it is
Carlos and I always argue about what is the most important part of our website. And I'll think, hey, no, it's something I wrote or some image I put in there. It's like, see, I could literally show you no one cares.
Yeah, like you see in this page here, in this website here, people, they care much more about this, the first menu. They don't click and everything else. They do obviously some searches about the products, and most of the time they go straight to the contact us. They don't keep browsing around. They don't care too much about benefits. They are looking for soundproof doors and windows, so they know what they want. They look if the product branding is here, and they get in touch, right? So the best part of this is it's you are centralizing everything. So you have a quick dashboard where you have where your audience is coming. This is showing only 7 days. If you want to increase here the whole month or 60 days, you have the traffic of everything. You show exactly how many people browse to your website and where they came, right? You see the number of visits per day here, when you were most accessed, and the time of the day. You can have integrations like funnel integrations. If you have sales, you can pay attention what type of browser, and if you, even if they use the desktop or the mobile. In this case here is the opposite of our website. Most of people, they are looking online on a mobile phone. But the whole thing takes, I don't know, almost nothing to install and to configure. And depending on the customer, you can have not only the answers after a while, but also you can have some feedback about what people are doing and why they are not finding the information they want. So if you search here and you find people with 1 second, 2 seconds, they browse to the website and they don't find the proper information. So this one here came from the Google pay-per-click campaign. There are many coming from organic as well. This is the short version. Obviously, you can just show the current ones, and you will see real time of what people are doing there. This is what I was reserving here to present. Is that okay, Ken?
Yeah, it's perfect. And what's useful is he showed you the fluctuations over time, and that if you're working with an ACT customer and you're helping them manage their campaigns, you've got some basic dashboard feedback, obviously within AMA, but this you can actually show the click-through results that you're getting in conjunction with the campaigns. You can see the spikes. This customer uses AMA. We support them on this, and they're running a number of campaigns, and you can see and demonstrate to them that this is specific. This has real value. So so Braun was asking whether or not it had specific ACT integration. It doesn't, but it has a business crossover where you can actually show the commercial value of, or the marketing value of your AMA campaigns as it relates to the traffic it drives back to the website. Okay.
Yeah.
And all of this is, again, really presenting you as a gatekeeper, as a knowledge person that that they're going to value more and more, because you're going to provide them this kind of technology, these kinds of analytics that they would never otherwise have access to. Okay, and for what, 20 to 60 bucks a month?
Yeah,
They're going to love it.
this is cheap. This is really cheap.
Yeah.
This customer is paying like $32.
Yeah.
The only argument, it's undeniable. You can do any kind of decision informed. You need to have information. You cannot just guess. Oh, I want to take it out about us. Nobody clicked there. No, wait, there is someone clicking there. If they are landing in the product page, they want to know who you are. They are not allowed to click on the contact us. When they are in your homepage, they are just found you. They know who you are, so they want to go to the contact page. So you can track the acquisition and you can track their route in your website with numbers. So you don't need to guess. You just need to inform yourself before doing a decision.
Excellent. Thank you, Carlos. We're just coming up to the top of the hour. I want to give people a couple of minutes to ask any questions, because I want to, I want you guys to sign up for these things each week. I think there's a lot of value, and we've got this timed out so that, we'll finish this right around the time of the Q2 launch of APC. But I hope that you guys find this value, and I want to be respectful of your time. Any questions before we sign off? Okay. So what I'm, if not,
I had a
yeah,
question.
okay, Alan.
So the analytics were great, man. Wow. So if you saw a country was hammering you with a bunch of problems and you wanted to go back on the other end, do we have a way to lock a country out by country?
Yeah, I
know
Carlos,
is there a way on the back end?
there is a way. I don't know if Lucky Orange provides that, but go ahead, Carlos.
Cloudflare is the quickest one. You create a rule there. It's free if you put your CDN to work. So Cloudflare, you can create a rule saying this country is denied. That's it. It's easy to find.
Yeah, we host our websites through Cloudflare. So does Act. I think you remember they suffered a DDoS attack a few months ago, and there was a Cloudflare welcome screen on account of that. It's great for security, and it's also great for doing geo-blocking. Okay. I actually have got, I get an Orange Care, I can't believe I said that, a Lucky Orange report every single week on the analytics for each of the websites that we have monitoring. But I also use AMA and the web analytics and I get a report every single morning. And I'll often get very curious amount of traffic from Saudi Arabia or from whatever, and that's another source that you can use to geo-block. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, guys. This is recorded, so when it's all done, we'll distribute it. Thank you for showing up, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.